19%
students committed suicide. As a 16-year-old student died by suicide.
16 वर्ष के एक छात्र ने आत्महत्या कर ली.
The Delhi school boy suicide case.
14-15-year-old child has died by suicide.
Parental pressure. Parenting का कोई school नहीं है.
248 suicides,
Yeah.
and these are school-going students.
Yeah.
67% of Indian students, they are moderately already stressed, and
Yes.
only 12% are without any stress. 3 to 4 red flags that
Okay.
you know that a student is silently moving towards that edge.
The biggest one is withdrawal. Losing interest in their favorite things, like their favorite food, their favorite hobby. उसके फादर ने बोला बताओ फ़ोन में क्या, गिव मी द फ़ोन. ही सेड, मदर ने प्रेशराइज किया कि दो मुझे, मैंने कहा दो, गिव इट टू मी, एंड वो नहीं माना. एंड यू नो वोंट बिलीव, ज़्यादा प्रेशर करने से वो बालकनी से कूद गया विद द फ़ोन. During the menstruation cycle, those females are feeling a bit of guilt and shame.
Exactly.
And their confidence dips. Has to be a wellness room for those girls, and to take them out of that shame and guilt and make it very natural. I will give all the audience their purpose of life. It is never about you. It is never about you achieving something, you buying your car, your house, having kids, the kids getting married. No. It is always about giving.
Many B schools are like around 80-85%. अब मैं उनकी बात करता हूँ जो प्लेस नहीं हुए. I want you to talk directly to them and tell them that it is absolutely fine. This is not the end of the world. Dr. Mithali, welcome to Shivadiyant. It's an absolute honor to have you on the podcast.
Thank you, and I'm already loving the energy on this podcast. Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. So इस conversation को मैं बड़ा, I'll say this is going to be a very emotional conversation for me. Some reasons for that. एक तो ये students जो school going students हैं, second जो college students हैं, third working professionals. सबके साथ intersection होगा. But before we do that, I just want to take you back in time when it all started for you. So I was reading about you, and one thing stuck with me. There was a moment when you saw a girl giving up her life. That was a pivot point for you when you said, now I have to finally get into the mental health space. Wellness consultant you are, Life Sutra founder, and Suicide Free India. So if I ask you, or before even I ask you, what pulled you into the space of mental health, where you started with different techniques like NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, EFT, emotional feeling technique,
Freedom technique.
So what, just walk us through, just tell me that moment in time.
So it was never the plan. To be fair, it was never the plan, Kunal. The idea was that I will work in the best company that I can ever dream. Accenture was one of them. And I got the job there. I was living the best of my life. I was at the peak of, you know, whatever your dreams are there, and you've achieved all of that, traveling the world, working in 23 countries, having a farmhouse, having a husband and a child. Everything was there, already in place. And then it felt like, okay, why am I not happy? Okay. And it started with that question that let me figure out what's wrong. First, it started what's wrong with me. And then it started with, let me figure it out. What is it that I'm lacking? And I was in the process of, you know, I decided to do certain courses to figure out what is wrong with me. Like I did life coaching certification, NLP certification, this and that, and my diploma in psychology and all of that. And then what happened was I started my company, Life Sutra. Till that time, it was just a business idea. And the focus was only that maybe the work that I'm doing is not for me and I want to change my field. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
And I left my job and started Life Sutra, which was all about, you know, different life sciences, occult sciences and all of that. And it was going very well. And I was like, okay, I can make a business successful and fantastic. What's wrong about that? Then one of my, when I was learning life coaching, one of my accountability partner, in life coaching, we have accountability partners. He shared one clip of a news channel. Okay. Till then, I was very happy in my own world. Okay. I'm getting clients, I'm working in, you know, life coaching. He sent me a clip and I think it was a normal news clip which people share as reels. It was about a girl committing suicide on camera. Okay. And I think there are thousands of reels like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know what happened. it somehow felt very personal. The girl in her video said that I'm committing suicide by my own choice. This is nothing to do with my husband. And bye bye, Papa. Okay. This was a Muslim girl and educated, working in ICIC Bank with a younger brother. And then I researched about it and found out that she also called her father before dying. और मरने से पहले उसने अपने father को बोला कि पापा मैं जा रही हूँ, I'm committing suicide. And father was begging to not do this. He was begging. और उसकी शादी को 6 महीना हुआ था. And the reason the guy wanted to divorce was because he said, I don't love you. The girl couldn't take it. She said कि प्लीज़ शादी मत तोड़ो. उसने बोला नहीं मैं शादी तोड़ रहा हूँ. उसने बोला अगर तुमने शादी तोड़ी I will commit suicide. The guy said अगर तुम suicide करो make a video of it so that nobody blames me. So that's exactly what she did. Made a video of it so that उसको blame ना हो. But what about the father?
Yeah.
Father is saying कि मैंने तुम्हें इतने साल मतलब पाला पोसा पढ़ाया लिखाया, and from a traditional Muslim family you are working, तुम सब कुछ अच्छा कर रहे हो, तुम्हारे भाई तुमको he looks up to you. Why do you want to die? वो रोता रहा, भीख मांगता रहा, but she committed suicide. And for me it was the biggest loss. मुझे ऐसा लगा कि इस लड़की को बचाया जा सकता था. If I had with all of this information that I have about life coaching and so many therapies I know, and अगर मुझे 10 minute conversation का time मिल जाता है इस लड़की के साथ, I could have saved her. What the hell am I doing? What the hell am I doing with all of this information? It's a waste of my life if I'm not saving people like that. Someone who could be for her brother, she was everything. She was like the mentor, the sister, the mother, someone he looks up to. और वो सब खत्म हो गया because someone like me was lazy to just make money. Only interested in money, only interested in setting up my own business. What the hell am I doing? If with all of this information and knowledge I'm not using to save lives, it's a waste. और फिर and the whole night, like I think 8-9 घंटे मैं उसी के वीडियोस देख रही थी on different channels, on different point of view. हिंदू में देखा, नवभारत Times of India, a lot of people covered that. And I kept on seeing that video, and by morning I had already made my decision that this is going to be suicide-free India.
Wow.
India cannot be with this disease anymore, and this has to be cured. That was the starting point.
Wow. And this is really a very compelling story. Honestly, I'm emotional. And honestly, we were talking before. Men are trained not to be emotional, not to show their emotions. But I think that is for a different episode. But this is a very moving story already for me. So, Doctor, I'm going to throw some numbers now before I put my questions to you. And these are the numbers which have really moved me when I was looking at these numbers. So we all know India is one of the most youngest population in the world. 65% of the people are under 35 with a median age of 29. Yet in the World Happiness Report, we are 118th out of 147 countries. So you see where we are. And then as per the latest official available data, which is of 2022 as of now, there have been 170,000 suicides.
Yes.
And out of those, 13,000, which is 7.6%, suicides are of students.
Yeah.
And in the last decade, the student suicides have increased by 64%.
Yeah.
If I give you some more numbers, working professionals, which we'll talk later, they are they have around 19% of the suicide. So let me start my first question, which is, why do you think that many students, the school-going students, are reaching that edge?
So if you, because we're talking about numbers, 13,000 ko dekhte hain ek bar. 13,000 students. Actually, if you calculate that into and dig deeper, it is like 2 students every hour.
Correct.
which means by the time we finish this
Yes,
conversation,
yes.
2 students have
Yes,
already
yeah.
committed suicide. While we are talking about suicide, 2 students are already committing suicide. So this is very, very, imagine, not only if you think about just the name students, it appears random, but if you think those students are the children,
Yeah.
are probably the only children of their parents.
Yeah.
And for a parent, losing their child is the biggest loss.
Yeah.
Like we said, we just spoke about, it is pain beyond measure.
Yeah.
And the worst counselings that I have done till now, and the most painful ones, are when I counsel parents who have lost their child to suicide. Some of them died because their girlfriend left them. Some of them died because they could not. One girl was in 9th standard and she committed suicide with a letter saying, I'm sorry, Papa, I'm not intelligent enough.
Wow.
So she's 9th standard. What has she seen in
Yeah.
terms of pain or life? Has she explored anything in life? No. Died before time.
Yeah.
अब ऐसे बच्चों का क्या रीज़न है सुसाइड करने का? देर आर मल्टीपल. लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द बिगेस्ट वन. फर्स्ट इज़ डेफिनेटली पेरेंटल प्रेशर.
Yeah.
वाई पेरेंटल प्रेशर इज़ बिकॉज पेरेंटिंग का कोई स्कूल नहीं है.
Yeah.
तो पेरेंट्स को भी ठीक से पता नहीं है कि वेयर टू स्टॉप पुशिंग देयर चिल्ड्रन.
Yeah.
जो बच्चा फर्स्ट आता है उसके पेरेंट्स क्या करते हैं, इसको आइसोलेट कर दो. अब ये
Yeah.
फर्स्ट आता है ना क्लास में, तो इसका खेलना वेलना बंद और इसका फोकस पूरा एकेडमिक्स में. बेस्ट ट्यूशन, मोस्ट एक्सपेंसिव स्कूल, मोस्ट एक्सपेंसिव बुक्स, वी विल प्रोवाइड एवरीथिंग.
Yeah.
एंड नाउ व्हेन यू हैव इन्वेस्टेड सो मच, द चाइल्ड इज
Correct.
फीलिंग प्रेशराइज्ड
Wow.
कि मम्मी पापा बाहर नहीं जा रहे, हॉलीडेज पे नहीं जा रहे, अपना खर्चा नहीं कर रहे. माई फादर इज़ नॉट इवन बाइंग अ न्यू बाइक, इवन दो उनकी बाइक बहुत पुरानी है. क्यों? क्योंकि मैं पढ़ सकूँ.
Wow.
They have given everything to me. Now the pressure, look about the pressure.
Yeah.
अब मैं अगर नहीं सक्सीड करूँ तो मेरा जीने का मतलब क्या है? The children are feeling obliged. That's ऐसा पेरेंटिंग और बच्चे का रिलेशन नहीं होना चाहिए पेरेंट्स के
Yeah.
साथ. बच्चों को कभी भी ये फील नहीं होना चाहिए कि मुझे एहसान उतारना है अपने पेरेंट्स का.
Yeah.
आई हैव टू डू दिस सो दैट मेरे पेरेंट्स के सारे सेक्रीफाइस मेक सेंस.
Yeah.
एंड पेरेंट्स आर डूइंग अ लॉट ऑफ सैक्रिफाइस, नो डाउट अबाउट इट. मैं जानती हूँ एक पेरेंटिंग कपल, ओनली गर्ल चाइल्ड, शी इज़ एक्सीलेंट इन प्लेइंग टेनिस. मदर हैज़ लेफ्ट हर करियर बिकॉज उसको लेकर जाना है सुबह शाम प्रैक्टिस के लिए. फादर इज़ वर्किंग डबल शिफ्ट्स एंड सो दैट उसका न्यूट्रिशन इज़ टॉप रैंक, उसका फिजिकल फिटनेस, उसका जो ट्रैवलिंग एक्सपेंस आता है बिकॉज शी इज़ गोइंग टू प्ले इन सो मेनी कंट्रीज एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट, वो सारा कवर हो पाया. डबल शिफ्ट काम कर रहा है आदमी. बीवी ने अपना करियर छोड़ दिया, सब कुछ छोड़ दिया क्योंकि बच्चे का करियर.
Yeah.
पर बच्चे पे तो प्रेशर आ गया ना सारा.
Yeah.
तो ये फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल पेरेंटिंग प्रेशर इज़ वन ऑफ दोज थिंग्स. एंड अगर ये प्रेशर सही टाइम पे रिलीज़ नहीं होता या प्रोसेस नहीं होता, देन इट्स अ प्रॉब्लम. सेकेंड इज़ पीयर प्रेशर.
Yeah.
Okay, peer pressure, as in, I know one girl, one of my counselors, she said that, ma'am, I had to keep a boyfriend because everybody in my group had a boyfriend. लड़कियों में ये प्रेशर है, oh you don't have a boyfriend, oh what a loser. And लड़कों में प्रेशर है, oh you're still a virgin, oh what a loser. You don't smoke, are you a loser? You don't drink, you have never tasted a drink, are you a loser? That is the kind of mindset they have. So if you have to be a part of the group, you have to follow the rules of the group. And what is the group saying? Group is saying what is popular on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Whatever seems very cool on Instagram.
Yeah.
And Instagram is not the real world. It's the fakest
Is-
world
yes.
of all the digital world.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? And reality comes later. When you keep a boyfriend just for the sake of it, now the boyfriend has his own demands. He wants you to party late in the night, but you are a nerd. You want to study, you want to code, that's your thing.
Yeah.
But now, because you're under the peer pressure, you have to dress inappropriately because, you know,
Yeah.
I remember one of my clients' daughter was brilliant in studies, TEDx speaker at the youngest
Wow.
age, and she decided to grow up and join a group of girls who only wears really skimpy clothes because that's what they find cool.
Yeah.
And now she dresses like them. And when you dress like that, what kind of attraction are you attracting?
Yeah.
What kind of audience are you attracting towards yourself? What kind of boys are you attracting the intelligent boys
Yeah.
or the playboys?
Exactly.
Right? So then the whole audience changes. And when the audience changes, you are not focused on your career or your intelligence. You are being like an imposter in a group.
Yeah.
right? You're being the
Yes.
imposter.
Yes.
And that's the peer pressure we
Yeah.
are dealing with, they are dealing with, the kids are dealing with right now. The third is there is no way to there is no emotional outlet.
Very important.
There
Yeah.
is no way to really express yourself. Truly, there is no one, their friends are not real friends.
No, they're not. Yeah.
Their parents are in their own
Yeah.
thing. Their parents are competing with other parents.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
There is a
Yeah.
parent to parent competition, right? So there is no real outlet.
Yeah.
And the last one I feel is I think the digital world.
Oh yeah, it is. It is a
They
nuisance,
don't
yeah.
know why they are on Instagram.
They are, exactly.
There is no specific. If you're for a business, I would say, so be it.
Yeah.
If you're doing digital marketing or you're selling something, or I would say be on Instagram 24 hours because that's your business and that's your presence is important. Creating a brand is important. If you are there for personal reasons, keep your account private and interact with your family, share your personal photos, so be it. If you are there as a travel blogger, definitely share your travel post. But if you're there just for the sake of it because everyone is on it and everybody is posting what they're eating, what they're sleeping in, what their bed looks like, what their curtains look like, then you are there for a wrong reason. That's just
And Doc, I'll share some more data points with you. Like, this is so important to me. Exam failure in 2022, 2,248 suicides,
Yeah.
and these are school going students.
Yeah.
Wow. And then a national survey among 85 students, 12% of out of 85 had suicidal thoughts in the first year. And then suicide also report shows that 67% of Indian students, they are moderately already stressed, and only 12% are without any stress.
Yeah.
So it has creeped into our society at
So
such
much,
a young age.
so much. So when because it's generational and there are certain traits that are common. Similarly, in Gen Z also and in the latest generation, there are certain suicidal traits already there. There are certain mental health issues already in there. And the best way to deal with it is to have a systematic way of handling this. Like especially in school and colleges, where it should be mandatory to see a counselor once a week.
Yes, absolutely.
And I saw one fantastic thing in one of the schools that I visited. They had this something called a peer-to-peer listening groups.
Wow.
Where you sit in a group.
Yes.
It was the most beautiful thing I saw.
Yes.
You sit in a group of 10 to 15 people, and everybody will get a chance to just speak. And the whole group will listen. And the topic is not important. It doesn't matter. You can talk about your life, and it's a non-judgmental group. So you clap and thank them for sharing and never make judgment about them.
Safe space.
So, and it is important it is peer to peer, because it is different when you share it with a counselor. It is different when you share it with your parent or an elder. It is different when you share it with a friend or someone your age. When your same age is accepting you the way you are, I think that's fantastic. There's a counselor of mine, she's in 12th standard. Her mother committed suicide.
Sorry.
And she decided to fight. She learned suicide prevention counseling from me. She is one of our counselors. She decided to form that group. She made a peer circle where in her hostel, because she's living in a girls' hostel, 10 to 15 girls, whoever is suicidal in that group, they all will help her.
Intervene then.
They will make sure that she's safe. If she's feeling any signs of suicidal thoughts, or they will all come together and help her heal.
That's great.
They will support her in her personal life, in her emotion problems with her dad or boyfriend or mother or father. And if there is a financial issues also, they will help her.
Wow.
So she decided to take on that, whatever she went through. She doesn't want other people to go through the same thing. And it is important for them to get help from their peers.
Yes, it is very important.
And it was eye-opening for me, because I thought that I can help all the students, all the kids. But I think the best help a child can get is from a peer.
Yes.
Isn't that eye-opening? And I think it maintains our ego at some level, that we cannot do everything. That's why I need to train those kind of people who are willing to help their peers. That's, I think, is the best solution.
Great. मैं आपके इस पॉइंट से ना 3-4 सेगवे निकालता हूँ. पहला मेरा ये है, आपने बात करी स्कूल में काउंसलिंग की, कुछ रेड फ्लैग्स, तो मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन ये है कि फ्रॉम योर एक्सपीरियंस एक स्टूडेंट जो अभी स्कूल गोइंग है, what are the first 3 to 4 red flags that
Okay.
you know that a student is silently moving towards that edge?
I will tell you the biggest ones.
हाँ जी.
The first one, the biggest one is withdrawal.
Ah,
Okay. Withdrawal as in specifically from the parents. They will be in their room all the time. They will not speak to their friends or family. Silently withdrawing from every family activity. Okay. Second, the big one is clear disinterest in eating and sleeping. Okay. Either eating too much abnormally or not eating at all. So obviously there is a loss of weight. And either they're sleeping too much, 18 hours of sleep, or they're not sleeping at all. For 3-4 days they're not sleeping. Complete insomnia. Clear sign that they're going through something drastic, and also a sign of suicidal thoughts. Third is losing interest in their favorite things, like their favorite food, their favorite hobby. If they love playing cricket, they're not interested. If they love painting, they're not interested. So in their favorite things, they're just not interested. And the last one, and I think the most underestimated one, is the perfectionist guilt.
Oh,
Like they
yes.
will make a project, but they will not submit it because it's not perfect
yes,
enough.
Yes.
It's not perfect
Yes.
enough. They will get ready and they will keep changing their clothes because it's not perfect enough. They will not go to college because they have a pimple, because they are not perfect enough. Somewhere they feel that they're not good enough. Okay, and that is the most underestimated one. It starts from there.
So आप बहुत लोगों को काउंसल करते हैं. बिफोर आई कम टू माई नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन विच इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट अबाउट पेरेंट्स, अब किसी ने ये साइंस देख लिए, नेक्स्ट स्टेप क्या है? आपको रीच आउट करें या घर में कुछ करें या क्या करें? फर्स्ट स्टेप.
See, I feel that I'm limited. Okay, I only have 24
Yes.
hours, and we have 100 volunteers with us, and that is also not enough.
Yeah.
If I'm talking at the India level, probably the language, I know multiple languages, but that's also not enough.
Yeah.
So I feel eventually, if we have to get rid of suicide per se, or the mental disorders that people are facing, we need a community. Okay,
Yes.
at a bigger level.
Yes.
And that's why I feel that, like how we got rid of polio in India, I need to have a suicide prevention counselor in every house. It cannot be done with one single individual. Obviously, I'm training every single month. We are training multiple suicide prevention counselors, and all of my counselors, some of them are doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, students. Someone is living in Qatar, someone is living in Assam. I've trained so many of them. One of them is a theatre director, and
Nice.
all of them are from very prestigious fields. All of them learned suicide prevention counseling from me, became a certified professional, so that they can help at least 5 people around them. I don't want more than that. Just 5 people
वो
around you. If
काफ़ी
you can
हैं.
read the
Yes.
signs of those 5 people and save them, that's all I need.
तो सेव कैसे करेंगे? अब जैसे
Right.
सपोज मैंने देख लिया मेरे आसपास मेरी लोकेलिटी में है कोई एक ऐसा बच्चा जो मेरे क्लोज है, मुझे दिख गया, अब मैं क्या करूँ उसके साथ?
Okay, so in suicide prevention counseling, we train them how to talk,
अच्छा, okay.
how to counsel.
Okay.
And when you do that, when you do the certification, you understand which stage they are in.
अच्छा.
Stage 1 has different set of action, stage 2 has different set of action, and stage 3. Stage 3 is the last stage, where if someone is at stage 3, we give them a 24 hours watch. So all their family members have to be informed, and a 24-hour watch has to be, because they can actually commit suicide in the next 24 hours. So based on the training, they will be able to estimate which stage this person is in and what is the next step.
Okay.
Because this is a WHO certified training. This is designed by WHO. It is complete. It's like we call it the QPR training. Like how when you get a heart attack, you do a CPR, right? There's a training for CPR. QPR is like that. So you, once you notice that someone is showing the signs, you do a QPR with them.
Nice.
And you attach them to a function where they can be slowly healed, because it is not a one-time
One person,
counseling thing, right?
it is
You
not.
counsel them once and it is done. It takes some time. It requires a little bit of effort. And the suicide prevention counselor's job is to identify and report to the right person, so that the help can be provided.
So, मतलब I can easily find on Google I can just search, or I should like व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू फाइंड इज कि अभी कोई पेरेंट हमें सुन रहा है,
हाँ.
हमने उसको बता दिया कि वी हैव डिफरेंट स्टेजेस, वी हैव सर्टिफिकेशंस दैट टेक केयर ऑफ दिस, बट अगर कोई अभी सुन रहा है वो कह रहा है हाँ मुझे पता है, मेरे अपने चाइल्ड में देखा है, तो वो पहली चीज़ क्या एक करे अभी क्या
First
करे?
of all, the best easy way is contact us.
ओके गॉट इट,
Because we have 100 plus volunteers,
ठीक है.
we can help them instantly.
लाइफ सूत्रा.
Life Sutra. And if we can't help them, we will tell them how to get help.
Okay.
And we will tell them the neuropsychologist or psychiatrist. If you read the science, the science that we spoke about, if you read the science, the best way is to connect them to someone who can counsel them. The first level is counseling. I'm telling you, most of the suicide can be prevented just by listening to them.
Yes.
Without judgment.
Correct.
Most of the time. But that's not the complete solution. You need help after that. So to get a foolproof help, best way is to contact us. The second way is to contact a nearest psychologist or a counselor.
ठीक है. डॉक्टर, I'm gonna go to the, जैसे मैंने कहा कि you have given me a lot of points to talk about. एक तो हमने बात कर ली कि कैसे आपको रीच आउट करना है if someone finds this. सेकेंड इज हमने बात की पेरेंट. सो मेरा एक बड़ा लॉजिकल क्वेश्चन है पेरेंटिंग पे, और मैं इस क्वेश्चन को बड़ा केयरफुली पूछना चाहता हूँ बिकॉज पेरेंट कम्युनिटी ऐसी है जो अपने बच्चे के लिए कुछ भी कर सकते हैं एंड देयर इज नो हार्ड फैक्ट अराउंड इट. ठीक है, बट अगर मैं कोई डेटा बताऊँ आपको, 2024 का सर्वे है एंड इट शोज 70% ऑफ इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स दे फील पेरेंटल एक्सपेक्टेशंस एज देयर टॉप सोर्स ऑफ स्ट्रेस.
Yes.
और ये कोई नई बात नहीं है, सबको पता है ये. एंड जनरली वो उनका एक ही डायरी में ऑनलाइन देख रहा था, द रीज़न दैट गर्ल डाइड बिकॉज शी सेड पापा मैं उतनी इंटेलिजेंट नहीं बन पाई जितनी आप चाहते थे. एंड मैं वो पढ़ के मतलब फॉर अ मोमेंट आई वेंट इनटू डिफरेंट स्टेट, यू नो. सो और आप काफ़ी टेक्निक्स भी यूज़ करती हैं, NLP, EFT. सो मुझे आप एक बात बताइए कि अगर कोई ऐसे पेरेंट्स को आप काउंसिल करती हैं तो आप मतलब कैसे करती हैं, मतलब व्हाट इज़ योर थॉट प्रोसेस, व्हाट शुड वी डू अबाउट इट?
It's a very good question, Kunal. Yesterday only one of the teachers, she called me and she told me one incident which kind of shook me. Was there was a boy and I think 9th standard. He had something on his phone. Achha. Someone sent him something, but he said that he was very much in stress and he wanted to talk to his mother. तो उसने मेरी मदर को बताया कि मम्मी कुछ चल रहा है मेरी लाइफ में, मुझे बात करनी है आपसे. तो मम्मी ने, उसके हस्बैंड जस्ट एंटर हुए थे, तो मम्मी ने फादर को बता दिया कि कुछ ऐसा हुआ है उसके साथ, फ़ोन पे कुछ है उसके और वो बात करना चाहता है. तो उसके फादर ने बोला बताओ फ़ोन में क्या, गिव मी द फ़ोन. ही सेड नहीं मैं आपसे नहीं कर सकता बात, आई कांट शो इट टू यू. तो फादर ने प्रेशराइज़ किया कि दो मुझे, मैंने कहा दो, गिव इट टू मी. एंड वो नहीं माना एंड यू नो वोंट बिलीव, ज़्यादा प्रेशर करने से वो बालकनी से कूद गया विद द फ़ोन. दे नेवर गॉट टू नो कि फ़ोन में था क्या. वो मम्मी से बात करने को तैयार था. And that is also to do with fathers have not been able to connect with their children at all.
Yeah.
Father figure is something to be scared of.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to be friendly with.
No.
I think men should really work on the parenting skill. I think somewhere that is lost. Fathers को ऐसा लगता है मैं कमा तो रहा हूँ. That is enough.
Yeah.
But I think that's where you lose your child. Thankfully, the mothers are there to buffer that. But is that enough? It's again a question. Also, I have realized that in the latest generation, this habit of overprotecting the child.
Yes.
You know, like actually no exposure of pain is the worst thing that you can do to your child.
Absolutely.
Because जब वो actual थोड़े से भी pain में आएगा ना, if you have overprotected the child, he has not seen any bully or bad things or someone hurting him, someone stealing his pencil. He has not handled anything, any kind of pain in his life because you have been overprotective. क्योंकि नीचे उसको ज़रा सा उसको कोई खिला नहीं रहा है तो you're pressurizing the other children to make him play. उसको अपनी जगह बनाना ही नहीं आया सोसाइटी में. व्हाट विल हैपन इज जब उसका दिल टूटेगा ना, क्योंकि टूटेगा ही, जब वो टीनेज में आएगा दिल टूटेगा, और जब दिल टूटेगा तो उसको सिर्फ डेथ समझ आएगी बिकॉज ही हैज़ नेवर हैंडल्ड पेन एंड हार्ट ब्रेक इज़ वन ऑफ द टफेस्ट टू डील. एट अ सर्टन एज इट इज़ वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट थिंग. उसके अलावा कोई दुनिया ही नहीं समझ आती. व्हेन योर हार्मोन लेवल्स आर हायर, हार्ट ब्रेक इज़ लाइक द एंड ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. And if the child is not able to handle that, and you have overprotected them, they will think of nothing but death.
Yeah.
It is important to expose your children, and I tell this I've done this speech in a lot of schools where I say that continuous exposure of little bit of pain.
Very
You know,
nice.
like मम्मी भूख लग रही है, खुद बनाओ.
Correct.
मम्मा मेरे कपड़े प्रेस नहीं है, खुद प्रेस करो.
Yeah.
Little bit of exposure to pain. I don't like this restaurant, I can't eat here. Like my son said this once, मैं ढाबे में नहीं खा सकता, I only want fine dining. I said no, you should learn how to live in. That's called environmental mastery. And I've seen the people who survive the worst of their life events. और ये जिस वजह से सुसाइड हो रहे हैं ना, वो इतने बड़े प्रॉब्लम्स भी नहीं है. बहुत सारे लोग इससे बड़े प्रॉब्लम्स को हैंडल कर जाते हैं और सक्सेसफुल बन जाते हैं. वाई? बिकॉज ऑफ इन्वायरमेंटल मास्टरी. वन थिंग द पेरेंट्स आर नॉट टीचिंग देयर चिल्ड्रन इज इन्वायरमेंटल, हाउ टू एडजस्ट एंड बी फ्लेक्सिबल इन every kind of scenario. If you're sitting with your grandparents, you're flexible with them and you're listening to your grandparents. You're doing puja part with them. If you're playing with your friends, you are playing cricket, and if you need to, you are also saying the language and the lingo that you're supposed to. If you're being with girls, you are being respectful of their space, and not behaving like a boy to boy. You're behaving with girls as you're supposed to. If you're with parents, how you're doing it. And if you're with small children, how you're behaving with small children, right? So if you're not teaching your child to be flexible in every scenario, and जैसे water की तरह कहीं भी घुल मिल जाओ, अगर आप वो नहीं सिखा रहे हो ना, I think you have failed as a parent. On my fridge, there are we have pasted the 7 virtues of life.
Okay.
Which has honesty and all of those basic thing. I think that is all I want to teach my son. The 7 virtues of life. And I told him, if I teach you all of this in this lifetime, if I teach all these values to you, and at the end of it, you are a joyful, happy person.
Yeah.
I think I've won as a parent.
Exactly.
I don't care whether you get into a big college or big university or become a big sports person. I don't care about that, because I think we perform the best when we are the joyous, most happiest version of ourselves. Because when we are happy, how are we? We will talk nicely with a fruit vendor. उसके साथ हंसी मजाक करेंगे. आप रास्ते में कोई किसी को हेल्प चाहिए ना, रुक के उसको हेल्प करेंगे. Because we are in a happy mood. आप घर काम भी करेंगे तो मज़ेदार करेंगे. And all your employees will love you. All your subordinates will love you, or your managers will love you. And when you come home, your children will come and run towards you and hug you, right? Because you are the best joyous self of you. And that's what I want for my child. And that's what I want for all the children in India, to be the joyous, most happiest version of themselves. It doesn't mean कि you spoil them, कि भाई वो फ़ोन पे खुश है तो फ़ोन पे ही रहने दो, ऐसा भी नहीं है. We obviously stop them because they are like plants, they are ready to bloom. You give them an excellent level of soil and you let them bloom however they want to. But इसका ये मतलब नहीं है that if they are treating others badly, that's why the virtues, that's why those 7 virtues, that you are being honest all the time, you are being fair, you are being respectful, polite. All of these virtues has to be there and in everything that you do in your life.
Awesome. अब मैं पेरेंटिंग और स्कूल से थोड़ा शिफ्ट लेता हूँ गर्ल्स, स्पेसिफिकली गर्ल्स के लिए. आपने स्कूल की बात करी थोड़ी देर पहले, और अगेन आई एम सॉरी मैं आप बहुत नंबर्स थ्रो कर रहा हूँ, बिकॉज आई थिंक दिस नीड्स टू बी थ्रोन एंड टॉक्ड अबाउट ओपनली. Research shows that nearly 1 in 4 adolescent girls in India, they struggle with severe premenstrual symptoms.
Yes.
जिसके कारण that affect their mood, their concentration, their confidence. But school में this is all brushed under the carpet.
Yeah.
Now you spoke about the role of school in all of this. So from your vantage point, you would have come across so many schools, so many teachers and all that. What do you think at that early stage of a girl's life, and I'm not even talking boys right now, only girls, what can school do today to not have that mental health issues already cropping up?
Yes, absolutely. During the menstruation cycle, I think children who are in school and have just started menstruation, I think those females are feeling a bit of guilt and shame.
Exactly.
And their confidence dips.
Yes.
And that's crazy,
Yes.
you know, the level of confidence that dips down there. And I will not blame all of the schools, because some schools are doing very effectively managing it. They have specific sex education classes. In fact, they have separate menstruation education classes for the girls. And I've seen that in a lot of good schools, but I think all schools should have it. One more thing that I want to add is there is no specific wellness rooms for girls during that time, and where not only a provision to rest and be safe, but also a little bit of counseling
Yeah.
is required, especially for girls, because it happens in girls faster than boys,
Yeah.
and they're not ready for it.
Yeah,
And it is unfortunately happening even faster nowadays. So there has to be someone guiding them during that time, like a counselor. There has to be a in-house counselor all the time. There has to be a wellness room for those girls, and to take them out of that shame and guilt and make it very natural. Also, I would love mothers to teach their sons also about menstruation.
yeah.
Men, especially the small boys whose classmates are going through that, they should be aware and respectful. And it can only come when the mothers are teaching.
Parenting again.
Yes. So, and when your mother is talking about menstruation with
Yeah.
boys, what happens is the
Yes.
discomfort and shame goes away.
Correct.
Because your mom is
Yes,
telling you,
yes,
it's
yes.
natural, it's normal. So for a guy, for a small boy whose classmate is going through menstruation, he'll be
Yeah.
comfortable. I remember this one incident where I was visiting a school, and there was this girl who was she was like a sweater was tied on her skirt. And I was like, it's too cold, why are you? She said, it's not my sweater. I said, whose sweater is it? He said, my friend's sweater, the guy.
Very nice.
So I said, why? She said that, ma'am, because of my periods, I got like a small dot, and
Yeah.
this boy helped me.
Very nice.
So sweet.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a great mother.
Yes.
I did not think what a great boy. I thought,
Yes.
what a great mother.
Yeah.
A mother was responsible for teaching that son that if your friend is going through menstruation, you should help them.
Very nice.
He never thought of what will happen to my sweater. What a gentleman. So great mothers, happy mothers raise happy sons and daughters. And happy women is completely related to a happy man.
Yeah, absolutely.
A man who can express emotions and is balanced
Yeah.
in his emotion. I think that works wonderfully.
Adi Shakti.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to move to one of the recent topics that really caught my attention. अब एक मूवी आई थी सैयारा. It became a craze. And मैं काफ़ी सोच रहा हूँ इस बारे में
Yeah.
कि एक जेन सी, एक स्टूडेंट कम्युनिटी एक ऐसी मूवी से क्यों रिलेट कर रहे हैं. मतलब क्या वो इज इट कैरेक्टर्स, इज इट स्टोरी, और इज इट समथिंग एल्स?
So I was curious about the same thing, Kunal, and I watched the movie just released on Netflix. So I watched it just for this question: that what is it? What is it that Gen Z is going all gaga over it and crying and all of that? And I realized that it was never about the romance.
Oh, really?
It is, even though the movie seems romantic as a genre, but the reason Gen Z related to it was all about mental wellness. It was all about unprocessed emotions. Both the characters in the movie, the protagonist, the male and the female, are going through, the male is going through childhood trauma
Okay.
of not getting a good parent and raising his father as a parent, like becoming mature early on. Lot of kids nowadays are seeing that they have to parent their own parents because the parents are not responsible enough or not available enough, because sometimes both parents are working.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are not emotionally available, and that's why the lack of emotional availability makes them mature faster. In the other case, the other girl, the female protagonist, has a excellent parenting, but she's going through a psychological disturbance because of a heartbreak and how she dealt with it. And because the new generation is going through all of this, they couldn't just relate with the experience. The emotional discovery that, okay, my behavior is because of my trauma. I'm not a bad person.
Yeah.
This is happening to me because of what happened in my childhood, or because of, what happened with my parents. Somewhere they could relate to it. And that's why it made sense.
Wow.
And also, the biggest thing that we don't realize that Gen Z is not really talking to each other. They're mostly on the phones.
Exactly.
They're interacting completely
Yeah.
on the phone. So there is not really no more listening, and there is no real conversations
Yeah.
like we used to have as children, that we
Yeah.
go to someone's house just to talk.
Yeah.
It is not happening with them. And because it is not happening, there are a lot of unprocessed conversations and emotions that are stuck. And somehow that experience, the Sayara experience, kind of evoke those emotions and let it flow. I think as a cinematic piece, it did a great job. When
Yeah.
you evoke
Yeah.
emotions and let it process
Yeah.
someone's emotion, I think that's fantastic. But it also means that we are not doing it as a society.
Yes, we are not.
We are not giving
Yes.
them the outlet
Yeah.
to release their emotions at all.
So Doc, now I'm going to go to the college going students. अब इसमें when I was doing a research, एक बड़ा important fact आया, which is less than 2% of Indian universities, they have a trained mental health counselor. And what these college will say that we have a committee, और उस committee में से mostly लोग trained नहीं होते. Now, from your perspective, पहला question मेरा ये है कि because this is the stage where they are about to become the future generation of Bharat. What do you think, what is broken in the system right from the start?
So first of all, like you spoke about having a one counselor,
Yeah.
at least trained counselor. I think that is the biggest myth, because I have seen one of my clients from US. She went to her counselor in California.
college.
Yeah, she
Okay.
was getting bullied, and she went through a mental issue, and she went to the counselor. The counselor, what she did, she informed her mother that she needs help, and from she needs a psychiatrist and the pills, and so they put her on pills instead of doing the counseling, because pills are easier.
Easier, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And from last 15 years she's on anxiety pills,
16
and she could
years.
not finish her 15 years. She could not finish her college. She could not hold on a single job. She could not get married. She's lost her career because no effective counseling. Something that can be handled through counseling was handled through medication, because it's easier, right? It's and I think America is definitely suffering from there. India may we have good counselor, it's just that it is not effectively organized enough, and somehow, because it is considered like you will pay a maths tutor a lot of money,
Yeah.
but you will not
Yes,
pay a
yeah.
therapist.
Yeah.
You will not pay a therapist or a counselor the kind of money, and that's why it is not getting the recognition that it deserves, and the effective help is not available. People think that it's a waste of money, and they think that we can do without it. We
Yeah.
can handle it on our own. When it gets worse, you are on medication, and when you are on medication, your brain becomes numb. You're not able to perform your basic functions, and then you're hooked. Okay, because now you're dependent on medication for dopamine and serotonin. So it kind of kills the whole personality. I think you can at early stages it could be saved, especially at the college level. And the committees that you spoke about, the worst thing about committees is all talks and no action.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, absolutely.
It is all about talking this, making this, building this, organizing this, but no action whatsoever. And I think that is it feels like a propaganda and with no actions.
Exactly.
And that's why a lot of students don't trust them.
No, they don't.
They will not go to them. They will either ask help outside, or do the biggest blunders of their life, take drugs, for example, and because it's a way of intoxicating yourself, because you can't handle the emotional stress. Amygdala, the part of your brain which handles the emotional stress, after a point it starts blaring like an alarm. Okay, if you don't handle at that time, you become robotic and can kill yourself or can kill others, because the emotional distress is so high. You must have heard about this case where a 10th student killed another student.
Yes,
Because of a fight. Because when the stress is too much and you're not able to process it, either you kill yourself or you kill the other person.
And you just brought me to a point, Charlie Kirk,
Yeah.
abhi US Senate.
Yeah.
And he was shot dead in a ground full of students.
Yeah.
That is that is such a sad state of
it
affairs
is
where we are.
And in fact, I think he was working completely for the welfare of those
Absolutely.
kids.
And people will disagree on that as well.
Yeah.
There are so many thoughts, but I think जैसे आपने बोला, once you become a robot, you can either kill yourself
Yeah.
or kill the other one.
because you have no control, and this starts very early on.
Yeah.
The emotional processing should start. It's like a emotional constipation. If you don't get rid of it, it will come out and it will kill everything around you. And I think the signs are already there. The sudden irritation, the sudden anger is already there. You see that among people. And I don't know, in this generation, we see a lot of angry people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, people get angry on small, because it
Yeah.
is all about the non-processing of emotion. We have been focusing on mental health, but I will also highlight the emotional health here.
Yeah.
The lack of emotional health is one of the reasons that even with all of those mindset shift and 4 pillars of mind and all of that, it cannot really work if your emotions are not in place. The universe has given you a heart and a mind. You have to use it in a beautiful combination. Otherwise the system doesn't work. I will also add there is a spiritual intelligence also.
Yes.
But I think that comes later. First you master these, and then the spiritual intelligence also plays a big role. That's where your hope comes from there. That's where your faith comes from. And you get into that surrender mode. But the emotional and the mental well-being is both of equal importance, and it can only be achieved through little bit of exposure to pain.
आप मुझे एक बात बताओ, कॉलेज को करना क्या चाहिए? अगर मैं वर्ड यूज करूँ रिफॉर्म, क्या रिफॉर्म करना चाहिए? लाइक एवरीवन इज अवेयर ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम.
I think the biggest one, I think the best solution is peer-to-peer listening group.
Oh.
I love that idea. I think that would work fantastic.
Yes.
It's of zero cost.
Yes.
You're not hiring any counselors. You're not paying any committees. You're not organizing anything. Just a community where everybody is allowed to process their emotions without any judgment. Like a safe space to talk about. And your peers are listening. Not your teachers, not your parents.
No one is judging you.
And no one is judging you. And because they are all going through the similar kind of problems.
Yes.
I think that will work fantastic. And I think all colleges should have it. Wherever I go as a speaker to all the colleges, I tell this to, especially to men, I say that, don't think of your career as the end of it. Don't think of your career failure, not able to find a job or getting into a UPSC or NEET or all of, don't think of it as the end of your life, because failure is feedback and not final result. And females, to all the females that don't use your boyfriends as an ATM machine.
Yeah.
And don't depend on your husband as an ATM machine. Build something of your own. You have been spending as much time in studies. Your parents have invested as much money in you as the guys, right? So don't use your looks on attraction. Use it as a currency. Don't use it like that.
I really like how direct you're talking. I love this. So now let me go to the next one. आपने touch किया alcohol, substance, and that is my next Again, I'm going to throw some numbers.
Yeah.
So survey shows 1 in 5 college students, they will experiment with either alcohol or drug before they reach age of 21. And why they do that? Simple thing is stress or peer pressure. That's what's cited the most. And then I want to ask you this: when you mix substance with your unprocessed thoughts, how your mental health takes a toll.
Yeah.
And what is your advice to these students who are listening right now, who are taking beer just because they want to sleep, or pills? And I'll tell you one more thing before I give it to you. In my first conversation, how it all started for me, Shiva Diyant, I brought some students from IIM Sirmaur. And there was a girl, Anchal, and she mentioned on camera that there were times when she started taking pills just to sleep.
Yeah.
Just understand.
Yeah.
These are the cream of Bharat.
Yeah.
People want to die to get into IIM. She is into the IIM and she's taking pills, substance.
Yeah. One of my roommates was from IIM, Bangalore. I was in Bangalore, posted in, working with Tesco, and she used to come and stay with us from the campus once in a while. And she used to talk about, and I saw her as one of the most happiest person I know. And I was like, wow, she's handling so much pressure. And I got to know later that she was on drugs.
Yeah.
And it is so sad.
Yeah.
Because these are the future leaders, and they are going to shape the world. Imagine the future leaders shaping the world on drugs.
Scary.
It is the most scariest and the most sad thing I've heard. And I don't see a way out, because without somehow the idea of good colleges and the premium institute is somehow built around stress. I don't know why. It
You're right.
feels like that the more stressful you are, the more better you will perform. How?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Why the term, instead of focusing on learning, we are focusing on the competition.
Yeah.
The exams are called competitive exams.
Yeah.
It's not, it is nothing to do with learning. And you are raising a generation which is more about others losing. They will pray for others
Yeah.
losing and you
Yes.
winning,
Correct.
rather than focus on what did I learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are we doing?
Yeah.
And I think thankfully Google is thinking like, I don't care about your degree, I want to see what you can do.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. So
Yeah.
we need companies like that. Instead of hiring based on your degrees, are hiring based on your talent and what you can do. I think that's fantastic. I think the corporate world will change how you're hiring. Now the degrees, most of the degrees are
Yeah.
useless.
Yes. Yes.
I did my BSc in chemistry. I'm not using that. I did my MBA in international. I'm not using that. I learned absolutely everything from scratch, and I became what I wanted to become on my own. And I'm earning more than what I used to earn. So, what did my degree actually, what helped me with the degree is entering the
Yeah.
corporate world.
Open the
I think the
door.
entry. And once I entered, I think you have to make it on your own anyways.
Yeah.
Why not make it on your own in the field that you love?
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think the pressure will go away if you start doing what your unique talents are. Eventually, you will anyways do that. All of us are doing that, right?
Yeah.
We will eventually move to a field that we love to do. My husband wanted to do something in energy field. Eventually, even after avoiding it for 27 years, he finally entered it. So your destiny will definitely take you there. Why not start it early?
Yeah.
And I tell this to the parents also. Let your kids choose their field.
Yeah.
If they're
Very
not able
important.
to decide, you can guide them based on their talents, but let them decide on their own. Let them choose it for themselves. If they're passionate about something, let them go for it.
Yeah. So great thought. Let me ask you this. अगर आपके पास कोई college students आएंगे counseling के लिए, and since you have expertise in a lot of the techniques, so what is the technique that you think can absolutely work with college students struggling through substance right now? What do you think?
So for the substance abuse, the reason they are not able to, the reason they want to take any kind of intoxication through substance, alcohol or smoking, is because they want to numb a certain pain. Okay, either it is emotional stress, or most of the people are drinking because because of heartbreak or whatever.
Yeah, mostly.
Then there is a professional stress of either not getting a job or not getting a good job.
Yes.
Or etc etc. And the third one is a family stress. And family stress is not less. I have seen in one of my interaction in a college, I think Deen Dayal College, there was a student who said that, ma'am, how do we ask for help if the biggest toxic people are your family?
Wow.
Okay, so there are people who are going through family stress as well. Okay, so all of these stress, they are intoxicating themselves because they want to forget about it. I will say, don't make your life easy. To see, only 95% of the people are going to be generic. 5% are the leaders. I'm only talking to the leaders here.
Yeah.
Don't ever take the easy way out. Always take the difficult way out. The difficult way out is to going through the stress right through it. Going through your pain right through it. Process it by feeling it. Feel as much as you can, in whichever proportion it is coming to you. If it is coming every week, feel it every week. If it is coming on a daily basis, feel it every day. You have to go through it. You have to cry through it. You have to, shout through it. You have to journal through it. Do journaling, do shouting, do therapy. Do talk about it, cry about it. Whatever you need to do, you have to go through it. There is no other way. The more you avoid it, the bigger it becomes. And then you're on pills.
Yeah.
Either you are on pills, or you're on drugs, or you are smoking, or you're drinking. There's no, and 95% of the people will keep doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking to them at all. I'm talking about the 5%, the leaders, the change makers. They should take the difficult way out.
So I just want you to segue into this either NLP or EFT here. So for a college student जो इस pain से गुजर रहा है, is there anything that can help them
Yeah.
instead of the pills and all that?
Yeah, so definitely reframing how you do the self-talk.
That is NLP?
NLP.
Okay.
So in NLP, what do? Is we are talking about the neuro-linguistic programming. Your brain, your subconscious understands only two things. One is what you're saying to yourself and how often you're saying it to yourself. Repetition is the key here.
Yes.
Okay. So conscious is very systematic. Right or wrong का एक definition बना रखा है इस conscious mind ने. But subconscious mind, which is the 95% of your potential, is in the subconscious mind. Things that you do automatically.
Yeah.
Okay. Things that are happening to you, your habits, your everything. So वहाँ पर अगर आपने you are saying good things to yourself in a repetitive manner
To yourself.
to yourself, self-talk. That's what changes.
Yeah, very
Okay.
nice.
And it can completely reframe. If you're saying to yourself, I will do my best, instead of I will succeed, say I will do my best. Okay, I'm doing my best. And if you're reframing failure as that failure is just a feedback, nothing is wrong. Failure is just feedback. It's not the final result. I have so many things to come. There are so many things to come. I have many opportunities, and I am amazing. I'm super confident. I'm awesome. Say that to yourself. And I remember my grandmother used to say this, even though it looks like an old thing, but whatever she said, it's absolutely true. Say that to yourself just before sleeping. So just before sleeping, compliment yourself. And compliment yourself crazy. Don't be confident. Be overconfident about your talents. Okay? And that's the best way to really trust yourself and achieve
So,
success.
जैसे मैं एक चीज़ को आपसे बात करते करते like I can't do it, instead of saying I can't do it, say I haven't done it yet. Something like that.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
What a great reframing. So
Yeah.
reframing the same sentences. In fact, I remember my childhood friend, she had this poster. It's a very common thing. She was in engineering college. She had this poster on her wall during engineering. She was very average student. It says, I can do it, I will do it. And there was one more statement, I forgot. I can do it and I will do it, something like that. And it worked fantastic for her. And she said that even now, she's very highly celebrated professional in her field. She still uses it.
Wow.
Because it works. Her subconscious mind is addicted to it.
Yeah.
Okay. And from an average student to super successful in your career, I have seen the kids who were coming first in the class are nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. I've
They're
seen
doing
that,
average
yes,
jobs.
Yes.
But the mediocre ones,
Yes, they rose.
they
Yes.
because they had nothing but to rely on their confidence and on their
Yeah,
self-talk, they are doing wonders in the
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
I'm in my group of classmates from childhood, and I've seen the average students are doing wonderfully well, and the top students are nowhere to be found. Where are they? Nobody knows. So yeah. So
Okay. So this is great. और if I ask you, अभी जो नेपाल में हुआ है, entire regime has been toppled down. Gen Z is doing a lot of things over there, and people from here as well are watching the Gen Zs and all that. So is it like, again, is NLP in play here? Is it EFT? Is it like what is happening to these Gen Zs? Like,
yeah,
what's
I
your
mean,
thought?
I would not. A lot of people have negative things to say about Gen Z, that they don't know anything.
ये नेपाल में हो, पहले let's talk, ये नेपाल में what do you think? What is your
So,
thought?
to be fair, I think it was more pre-planned than just a coincidence.
Okay.
I think it was already in play. It is a bigger game than we think. So it was not random, something that happened, but the Gen Z role in it could not have been, they could be instigated, but it cannot be completely planned because everybody has their own mind. So even though political scenarios and things could be played by some bigger bodies and bigger political bodies, but I think the Gen Z's role and the behavior was not planned. It was probably a little bit instigated, but Gen Z is very, very, how do I call it? They are a different generation. When I say different generation, they are very passionate, but they're also not stupid. Okay. So they have this thing called, someone like a comic said, they have boundaries. So you can influence them till a point, and after some time they will not take shit.
Yes.
They will leave
absolutely.
at 6 p.m. If you want to fire them, you can fire them. They're not scared of you,
Yeah.
right? And they have their own rules.
Yeah.
They have their own language.
Yes.
Can you
Linguals.
believe that?
Yeah.
One of the generations have their own language. And like my son told me today that I said, this jacket I'm wearing, it's not giving. And I don't know what it means. What is it not giving? It means it's not looking very nice. Okay, so they have their own boundaries, they have their own lingo, and they love it, and they live with it. And I think they're extremely intelligent.
Yeah.
I think we have not understood them because we are lacking that level of intelligence. If understood well, I think Gen Z can really end a lot of corruption and a lot of manipulations and lot of what I call the corporate torture. I think they can kill all of that. The misuse of talent and the wrong fitment in societies of men and women both. I think in what happened in Nepal was a little extreme version of it, and I think also misunderstood. But if you understand the core nature of Gen Z, it is not that they don't want to work. They want to work on their own terms.
Yeah. That's more important.
Yeah. Look at what they did after that. They
Yeah.
clean the roads,
Yes,
and they
yes.
clean the society and schools, and they will work. They will work anything till when they want to.
Yeah. So, Doc, let me go to the next one, and I'm still at the college one because I think this deserves some more time, which is the placements and rejections. अब मैं दो कैटेगरीज की बात करूंगा, एक इंजीनियरिंग, एक MBA. अब इन 2023 ओनली 47% ऑफ इंजीनियर्स गॉट प्लेस्ड, और जब हम MBAs की बात करें, IIM नागपुर hit 100% placements, but many B schools are like around 80-85%.
Yeah.
So अब मैं उनकी बात करता हूँ जो प्लेस नहीं हुए, the ones who were left behind. For them it looks like a life sentence to them.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, I want you to talk directly to them and tell them that it is absolutely fine. This is not the end of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I would say the ones that are left behind will do much more better in life than the ones who got placed. Because I'll tell you, the one who got placed are stuck in a loop, okay, where they have to do what they're supposed to do, where they're supposed to follow a path like what I did in 16 years, and then I finally selected, because I also got campus placed. But the ones who are left behind have everything that they can do. The whole world is open to them. The whole world is waiting for them to take a decision. They can be entrepreneurs, they can be freelancers, they can learn new skills. The whole world is open to them, only if they look at it that way. Okay, and they don't fall. I would say, I will tell this very rudely to all the kids, that if you have to go through a brain surgery, will you go to your mother? No. If you have to take a business advice, will you go to a Shark Tank mentor, or will you go to your father? Because if you take the wrong advice, even if the people love you to death, the parents, they are not the best person for career advice. Like I will, even if my mother wants me to be alive, and if I have a brain surgery, I will never go to my mother. I will go to the best brain surgeon. So if you need a mentor in business or career, find the right kind of mentors, not your mom and dad. They are not the right person to give you any kind of advice. So love them to death, but don't take everything they say seriously. Okay? Ignore their advices, ignore their toxicity. They are coming from a different place. Love them, but don't listen to them. Okay, especially the college ones. I'm not asking the school ones to not listen to their parents. It's a rude thing to say. Yeah, it's a rude thing to say, but I will say, and I've said this in colleges directly to students, don't take advice from your parents about business. They will say, no, नौकरी करो, इतना पैसा हमने खर्च किया, नौकरी करो. बट वो बंदा बिजनेस स्टार्ट करना चाहता है, वो हिम्मत ही नहीं दे पाएंगे. जिस इंसान मेरे फादर ने 50 years नौकरी की है, वो नहीं दे पाएगा तुम्हें बिजनेस एडवाइस. उसको स्किल ही नहीं है. ही इज़ द रॉन्ग पर्सन. ही इज़ नेवर टेकन अ सिंगल रिस्क इन हिज लाइफ. वो सुबह 8 बजे उठते, मेरे फादर आफ्टर इवन रिटायरिंग, ही स्टिल गेट्स अप एट द सेम टाइम. ही कांट चेंज हिज रूटीन. ही कांट. It is not that he doesn't want to, he can't, because he's so used to it. How can he give a business advice? My brother, when he started his business, had so much opposition from my father, but he did not listen. And now he's earning much, much more than my father ever imagined
Yeah.
because he stood his own ground. You have to do that. To become something, and I would not say that you will not fail. You will fail.
Yeah.
And I think every business in the first year it fails.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's how you know that you have to do things differently.
Correct.
And that's how you learn.
Yeah.
And if you survive the 3 years, your business is good to go.
Yeah. So to the students who aren't placed, this is not the end of the world.
Not at all. Not
Do
at all.
not think anything negative.
My brother did not get placed, and he's earning more than all his classmates.
Yeah.
So जो लोग अलग होते हैं ना, वो चीज़ें भी अलग तरीके से
Yes.
करते हैं, and I think that is great.
Yes. और इसी में एक सेगवे लेता हूँ TCS का जो भी रिसेंट एग्जांपल हुआ है, एक्सेंचर का जो रिसेंट एग्जांपल्स हैं, so many professionals are laid off, you know. I know it's not related to college, but I'm telling a college student that even if you're not placed, it is okay, because compare yourself to a person who is already in a job and has been laid off recently.
Yeah.
What is the psyche going?
Yeah.
So it is okay to just be laid off because you believe in yourself that you can do it.
Yeah. And there is so much to do.
Yeah.
I mean, for everything right now, look at the things that people are doing. There is a female who's running a handicraft business from home and earning more than her IT job wala husband. Right? I know my bhabhi is running her jewelry business from home. She was working with Byju's and she was earning pretty well, but then too much pressure. So she said, no, I don't want to do this. And there's no family life. So I want to do something from home. From sitting in her room, only working 2 hours in a day, she's earning more than her Byju's salary.
Yeah.
So, it's all up to you what you're passionate about. She was passionate about jewelry. Someone is passionate about handicraft. There is one girl who's making miniature models of everything. And she's, how much she's charging for one small miniature. She's making a model of this room probably. And she's making a miniature podcast room. And she's charging 28,000 for a small box. And she's earning in, I don't know how much she's earning. So people are making business out of everything. There is so much having social media. It's a free marketing platform. You can show any talent and earn. And what is stopping you?
Exactly.
There's nothing. No degree, no talent. Everything that you want to learn is online courses are available for all of them. I would say explore and never stop learning.
And I'm so glad you're saying that, because your positivity should absolutely be going to them, because I think your whole outlook, I can sense there is so positivity in terms of finding every opportunity in when life throws you down.
Yes.
You should absolutely do that. Thank you for that. Now, let me again go to a next point, which is, again, I'm coming to girls. And now before we talk about girls before we talk to girls in schools, now I'm going to talk about girls in college. Now, I have seen that as per the available data, under 30% girls they don't go into any of the professional courses like MBAs or engineering. So what I have seen is, there is a stereotype that starts creeping in a girl's mind, because there are fewer girls in any MBAs. They want to prove more. They have to do extra bit than boys. And when you start doing that at a very early stage, when you haven't even entered the corporate world or entrepreneurship, एक दिमाग में चीज़ बैठ जाती है कि मैं लड़की हूँ ना, तो मुझे ज़्यादा करना पड़ेगा. एंड कहीं ना कहीं वो आपकी मेंटल हेल्थ पे कुछ सुइयां चुभोती है.
Yes.
What's your take on that?
So, I will tell you this by experience. When I entered the corporate world, you give a fantastic presentation and you convince the client about something, and then there is a sutta break. And the boys go for a sutta break and they change the whole perspective. And you kind of lose the case. And as a girl, as the female, the only one not going for the sutta break, I kind of felt like I'm unincluded.
Left out, yeah.
And that kind of it feels like this is a male's world.
Yeah.
And you are like an alien. So you have to do, either you start talking, and Meryl Streep, she said this. She said this, that women learn to talk men. Like how you learn French and Russian and Hindi, Gujarati, you learn how to talk men.
Yeah.
But men have not learned how to talk women.
Yeah.
That's why we can talk your language and survive in a corporate world, but you cannot talk our language and survive in the household.
Yeah. We can't.
Right?
Honest confession.
Yeah. See, it is the truth. And because ये women वाला जो तबका है ये बहुत दबाया गया है over a long period of time. So उनको ऐसा लग रहा है women को that अगर मुझे पढ़ने दिया जा रहा है, काम करने दिया जा रहा है, ये भी बहुत बड़ी बात है.
Yeah.
There was a girl who was used to be beaten by her father, and she said, पापा ने मुझे जिंदा रखा है ना, ये भी तो बड़ी बात है. कितने सारे लोग तो अपनी बेटियों को मार देते हैं. So women are okay with adjusting for a long period of time. Okay, but I think that will gradually change. और जब भी कोई तबके को बहुत दबाया जाए और सडनली बाहर आता है ना, sometimes it comes out in the wrong way.
Correct.
I'll tell you. And females somehow identified money as independence. और उनको लगा अगर मैं कमा रही हूँ ना तो ही मैं किसी लायक हूँ, तो ही I have a say. I am independent only when I'm earning, and that is also wrong. I think all the women who are not working and taking care of their household are equally contributing to the society by raising good children. By taking care of their household, they are equally contributing, but they are not confident about it. They are not happy with that. Somehow they feel inferior, and I think that's wrong. And I think that burden has to go towards the male, towards the man, to make them feel like they are doing something really worthwhile.
Yeah.
Even when they're contributing in taking care of the household. It
yeah.
is equally difficult and equally rewarding job.
मुझे लगता है
It should
ज़्यादा
be.
मुश्किल है ये.
ये बहुत मुश्किल है.
Yes.
And
you ask any men to stay back home.
Yeah.
आज तू एक काम कर, तू सारा काम कर.
I'll tell you one very personal experience. Okay, how we talk about giving birth, pregnancy, and it is a most normal thing, and everybody gets married, everybody has babies. My sister-in-law, when she was pregnant, she called me one day. She said, it is the most, and she just delivered. So she called me and she said, how did you deal with it? Because I find this is the most difficult thing I've ever done. I said, this is the biggest scam that women are running by not talking about their pain during pregnancy, the postpartum depression. Nobody talks about postpartum depression, about not falling in love with your child as soon as the child is born. It is not easy. You're not in love with the child, and you're still, not. For the last 1.5 years, she said, I've not slept. I'm not able to sleep at all. It is a sleepless life I'm running, okay? And nobody talks about it. I told her, this is the biggest scam. Women are suffering so much in silence that they make us feel it is easy. Only when you go through it, you realize pregnancy is so difficult. Every single breath you take is so difficult. Even after delivering, life is so difficult for multiple years. But women behave like it is nothing.
Normal.
It is normal. They have normalized the pain. And that is the biggest scam.
Yeah.
And they push you to become pregnant. They force you to become pregnant, to join the club, as if it is something to be celebrated. It is most painful. I'm not saying it's the most beautiful thing. It is the most beautiful thing, but it is also difficult.
Yes.
And that's the reality.
Yeah.
And nobody talks about it.
No one.
You won't believe, I was going through postpartum depression. I did not know. I was firing my maids every second month. I was angry all the time. I was in my worst temper after pregnancy. Even at office, I was shouting at my juniors. I did not even know that I was in depression. Only when I learned about psychology, I learned the term postpartum depression, and it is real. But I realized it 6 years after I went through it, because nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
Nobody discusses it.
And I'm so glad you're saying all of this openly. And any girl who's listening to this should start speaking out.
Yeah.
It's not, and I can totally understand, it's not easy.
It's not easy at all.
And I've seen girls going in depression and not even talking about it.
Yeah.
हमारी society ने इसको एक ऐसा taboo बना दिया हुआ है कि if you talk about your mental state, you're weak.
Yeah, yeah.
सबसे,
Especially if you're a mother,
Yeah.
you can't talk about it, how difficult parenting is. You can't. And because the whole burden of parenting mostly falls on the mother. Mother, तुम्हारी माँ ने क्या सिखाया है ना?
Yeah.
So mother पे ज़्यादा आता है. Father तो बेचारा काम कर रहा था ना. So Father does not have that burden. But because the burden is with them, it is also the pressure, right? So it is not only parental pressure, but the pressure on the mother to become the best parent ever.
Yeah.
But she's also a normal girl,
Human
right?
being.
She also studied engineering. She also only studied all her life. Suddenly she got married and she should know everything about the house. And she should be able to manage the house, manage her work, as well as the baby.
Yeah.
How is that humanly possible?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
not possible. And some women are doing it so well that the superheroes, there are very few, by the way, they are suffering from depression. They do not talking about, because suffering in silence is our thing, right? Women.
Yeah, that's what we
And
do.
that is what is creating the hell for other women, because you know the husbands are saying, पर वो तो जॉब भी कर रही है, वो तो कार भी चला रही है, और वो तो बच्चे का भी ध्यान रख रही है, उसका बच्चा टॉप भी कर रहा है. What the hell are you doing being a housewife? So you know that competition is there.
So, Doc, now let me come to a bigger picture, and probably, you know, I would love to shoot another session with you only for the corporate professionals, because I think that is also a segment that needs time for itself.
Yeah.
But before wrapping up, मेरा आपसे एक बड़ा important question है, and when I was creating this content for this conversation, मेरे को 3 चीज़ें समझ आई. एक स्कूल गोइंग स्टूडेंट के लिए सक्सेस क्या है? इट इज़ टू गेट इनटू अ गुड कॉलेज. एक कॉलेज गोइंग स्टूडेंट के लिए टू गेट इनटू अ गुड जॉब. एक कॉर्पोरेट प्रोफेशनल के लिए टू गेट द नेक्स्ट प्रमोशन. चलो ठीक है, ये सारे बॉक्सेस टिक भी हो गए, आपको सब कुछ मिल गया. व्हाट नेक्स्ट? So I want to ask you this as personally, like what's your take? How do you define happiness beyond the next milestone?
It's a very great question, and I think a bigger one. So I think the problem with the happiness cycle is this question, what's next? I think that is the biggest question. If you imagine a circle where you have like a desire of achieving something, you work hard for it, you do achieve it, and then there is a phase of happiness. But then after some time, your happiness fades away.
Yeah.
Like you dream of a BMW, you buy that BMW, you enjoy that BMW, and then after some time it fades
Yeah.
away somehow. And then you ask, what next?
Yes.
Right? And then there is a new desire. And then again the whole circle.
Yeah.
You know, striving for it, achieving it, feeling happy, and then it fades away.
Yes.
It is going on and on and on. And this is the biggest myth about happiness. That's not happiness. Okay, and even if you call that little bit, that part happiness, that's very, very temporary, because every single time you achieve that, you want something next.
Yes.
Okay, the best way to come out of if you keep running in a circle, will you ever reach anywhere? No, you have to come out of that circle and really walk towards the real path. The real path, I will tell you, the best way to define is to find your purpose. Why are you here for? Universe never wastes space. I believe that universe is very, very intelligent, and everything is a mathematical calculation. So there is no confusion. Everything is really clear. You have to come here on planet Earth, finish your purpose, and go back.
Yeah.
The purpose is also very clearly defined, but it will only be revealed to you once you reach that level of intelligence. When I say intelligence, it is 5 types of intelligence: mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. Okay, if you achieve all of these intelligence, only then your purpose will be revealed to you. And what is your purpose? I will give all the audience their purpose of life. It is never about you. It is never about you achieving something, you buying your car, your house, having kids, the kids getting married. No, it is always about giving.
No.
Your higher purpose is always about giving, and you have been given specific talents to give back to the society.
Yes.
You have to figure out what is that thing that you can give the best to the world.
Yes.
And that gives you the real happiness. Once you figure out what that is and you start doing that, at least you start walking that path, you are going towards the permanent happiness, where you are just doing it for others.
Yes.
And you're fulfilling your purpose. That is the best definition of happiness, according to me.
And Dog, I am so happy, because the only reason I started this conversation and this podcast is with the small concept, 2 words, giving back.
Yes.
And I'm so happy that you have given me.
Tell me, aren't you the most happiest?
Yes,
right
when I
now?
do this podcast, I'm so happy because I'm
Yeah.
creating something for
Yeah.
these guys.
Yeah. You are giving back your intelligence, your experience, and your skill to the world, because these are the talents you're born with.
Yeah.
You were using it for yourself and it was
Yes.
still not giving you happiness.
Yeah.
You were achieving a lot of things. You are I am pass out.
Yeah.
You are working as a director. You have achieved a lot of things. It
Yeah.
was still not giving you happiness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because all of this is temporary.
Yeah.
Suddenly you picked up something to give back, and
Yeah.
now you're always happy, isn't it?
Before I just say thanks for coming, I would want to say this. This has been one of the most engaging conversation and honest conversation. It's not only for the audience. मुझे लगता है इस conversation से मुझे सीखने को काफ़ी कुछ मिला है. And I'm gonna keep this connect with you after this podcast for sure, because I think you have so much to offer and I would want to connect with you. अगर मैं भी किसी form में जुड़ के if I can contribute to this cause, I would love to do it. So before I say thanks and all that, is there any message you want to give to the audience or anyone who's listening?
Okay. I will tell this to everyone who is thinking that their bad time is going on. I will tell you, there is a timing for everything. And because there is a timing for everything, there is a famous poet who said that किसी को कुछ नहीं आता, सबका वक्त आता है, और जिसका वक्त आता है उसको सब कुछ आता है. So wait for your right timing. Keep doing what you're doing even when things are not going your way. And when the time is right, all of your hard work and all of your positive intentions will pay off. Good people and good things will happen to you. So just wait for the right timing.
Thank you, Doc, for coming to Shivadian.
Thank
It
you
was
so much.
absolute pleasure.
Same here, same here. Thank you, Kunal.
Thank you.